Over the weekend, I went for a bike ride with a friend, and as a photographer, of course, I was tempted to bring a camera with me. So I got my GoPro, since this is the only camera that I can operate while also riding a bike. And I mean safely, because of course you can one hand your camera and one hand operate the bike. It's not safe, but you can do it. But coming back to the GoPro, I also wanted to mount a few filters on my GoPro, like this gradual ND filter right here. And to do that, you would normally use one of these adapters. Nothing special, and I had this one for years. But one thing that I was missing is the fact that I changed my GoPro. I leveled up from a GoPro 9 to a GoPro 11. And this thing right here shoots in 6:7 aspect ratio, making the images way wider than my previous GoPro. And I meant it, wider, as in the sensor is wider and your field of view is also wider. And that meant that I was seeing my filter in my photos. Something like this, and this. And even though with a bit of perspective corrections, that part is going to go out of frame and nobody's gonna ever see it. I don't wanna have to deal with that, so I'm gonna fix it today with a bit of 3D printing. And since you made it this far into the video, allow me to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Vlad, I'm a photographer and I like to tinker with photography related stuff to improve my craft, no matter if it's hardware or software. I like to improve little things here and there, and I created this YouTube channel to talk about my experiments. And I really hope that today's problem is rather small, and I meant it, just a few millimeters, because this adapter is too tall. And I'm saying this because when you mount the adapter to the GoPro, the filter threads are above the GoPro lens. And in my filters, there is some space in between the filter threads and the glass. And that means the filter will stay proud from the GoPro and there will be a bit of a space in between them. And what I'm hoping is that by getting rid of that space, I can move the filter much closer to the camera lens, and that way the filter wouldn't be visible in my shots anymore. And also there's this edge right here, and I'm planning to remove that as well to gain a few more millimeters and also to make the part way more 3D printable, because this original one it's really not. I'm not gonna get into too many details, but with 3D printing you don't want edges to be floating in midair, and no matter which way you print this part, there will be some edges that will just float, and the printer would have a really hard time recreating that. So with a bit of 3D modeling, where I can't really say that I know exactly what I'm doing, I got my first prototype. And no, it's not this one. The first one is in the bin. This one is the first one that actually fit onto my GoPro. Not bad, not great either, but the bottom part was way too thin. The filter thread is way too tall because none of my filters have more than 2 millimeters worth of threading on them, and I have around 4 millimeters worth of threads on this adapter. And also, when I'm mounting the adapter on the GoPro lens stays proud, and that means that I can use the glass of the filter as a stopping point and I don't have to really push it all the way through. So a bit more 3D modeling where I don't really know what I'm doing, and a lot more prototypes. I mean, I do have quite a few of those, and there are a bunch more in the trash bin. I finally landed on this version that you see on your screens right now. And while we can stay here and pretend that I was inspired by the tripod legs where segments collapse one into the other, I just made good use of a 3D printer, a bit of plastic, just for grams, and transformed this metal part that wasn't really doing its job anymore into this plastic thing that it's so securely attached to my GoPro that I can literally hold the entire camera by the adapter, shake it, and nothing will ever move. And even better, because I'm not sponsored by Bamboo Lab or any other 3D printer manufacturer, I'm not gonna show you now how I unboxed the 3D printer. But instead, I'm gonna tell you a bit more about my model right here. The entire thing is roughly 4 millimeters tall, and I added an extra ridge on the inside so it hugs the lens of the GoPro way better, and that's the reason why it stays in place so well. And because it's a bit shorter even when compared to the lens of the GoPro, it means that even my thickest filter, which is this CPL filter, can go onto it and I can press it down until the glass of the filter touches the glass of my GoPro lens. And that way, no more vignetting for my future biking adventures. And for those 5 people that made it this far into the video, let me know if you like this format or if you'd prefer a more in-depth guide on how I made a tiny bit of plastic that goes on my GoPro. I honestly don't think people are that interested, but my goal is to show how I'm tweaking my gear to better fit my need and maybe inspire a few other photographers to do the same. And because I want to reward those people that watch my entire video, use code CRC25 on my website at checkout and you'll get 25% off on any of my color response curves pack. And if you don't know what a color response curve is, you'd better watch this video. That was it for today, and I'll see you in the next one.